A father, before he died, said to his son, "This is the watch your grandfather gave me, and this watch is more than 200 years old. Before I give it to you, go to the watch shop around the corner and tell them you want to sell it, and ask how much they'll offer for the watch." The son went, and after several minutes he came back to his father and said, "The watchmaker offers to pay $5 because this watch is old and it has a lot of scratches." The father then asked his son to go to the coffee shop. The son went, and after an hour or so came back and said, "The coffee shop owner said he'll give you $5 as well." The father looked at his son and said, "Go to the museum and show them the watch." The son went, and after a while came back happily and said, "Dad, they offered $1 million for this watch." The father said, "I wanted to let you know that the right place values your value in the right way. Don't put yourself in the wrong place and get angry if you get treated like trash. Those who know your value are the ones that appreciate you. Don't ever stay in a place that doesn't suit you. Know your worth and never, ever give up." You're listening to the Master Your Lens podcast, episode 182.
Hey, John Lee Dumas here, the founder and host of EO Fire, and welcome to the Master Your Lens podcast, the photography podcast dedicated to sharing inspiring stories, technical tips, and powerful secrets to help you become a better photographer. And now, your host, Matthew Jordan Smith.
Hello, Photography Nation. Happy December. This story between a father and son on the lesson of value, I believe, is right on point for photographers. Today, so many photographers struggle with what to charge and base what they charge according to what people tell them their work is worth. But what if you're asking the wrong person and you end up underselling your work for your entire career? I've heard this story several times over of a photographer who is told the value of their work, and they believe it. Now think about that story between the father and the son and the value of that watch. What if you've been asking the wrong types of people in the wrong places about the value of your work? Now deep inside, you really know the value of your work. You're the one who's making it. You're the one who's made the investment in your gear, the investment in your education, the knowledge to use the gear. You've invested your time. You've purchased computers, hard drives. The list goes on, but only you know this. There are many factors that are in play here when it comes to deciding the value of your work. One is that feeling of not believing you're worth it, not believing that your work is worth it. The imposter syndrome. I think many artists go through this and can't seem to figure their way out of it. So before we go deeper into the whole idea of value of your work, let's talk about that part of it, the imposter syndrome. You're looking at other work and you feel your work is not as good as that work. For whatever reason, this is very common. You can't see your work the way others do. Or maybe you feel like you do have great work, but you're scared to show it. Or you're scared to charge what you think it's worth. Maybe you feel like you're really not a photographer yet. You feel like you're faking it and that someone's going to find out. These feelings are common among artists from all over the world. The imposter syndrome can hit you at any point in your career, early on, or even when you have a lot of success. You could feel like you're inadequate, that you don't deserve to be in the room. But this is just a feeling. Now, how do you get past that imposter syndrome? Number one, Get rid of all the negaholics in your life. Yes, I said it. Those people around you who are just negative, no matter what you do, they're always going to be negative, and they see your work and they criticize your work. Get rid of all the negaholics in your life. They can't see your value. Remember the lesson of the father and the son and showing the watch to the wrong person. Maybe the negaholic in your life, that negative person, is just the wrong person to see your work, to see your value. You need to show it to the right people. That's step one in getting past that imposter syndrome. Now, what about the next step? The next step to getting past your imposter syndrome. Get off your computer. Get away and get out in the world and go see an exhibit. As a matter of fact, get out and see them as often as you can. I know it's December 2020. We are in a situation all around the world where life is getting a little harder to get out. In many places around the world, COVID is on the rise. So yes, we have to be careful. And you may have to sit still for a while longer. But you're not by yourself. We're all in this together still, including the museums. And many museums are showing their work online. So you can see what's being shown. So you can see the other work. I want you to see what's out there in the world. Then maybe, just maybe, you'll start to see your own value. Maybe you'll see, wow, if this person can do this, maybe I can too. Let's go back, way back, to the days of Picasso. Not the Picasso that we all know. Picasso as a young, budding artist, showing his work for the first time. Imagine people seeing it and saying, oh, wait a minute, this work, it's not like anything else I've ever seen. As a matter of fact, you're doing this all wrong. A portrait shouldn't look like that. I'll give you $5 for that. Imagine if you hear that a few times. You start to believe that your work is worth that. Because maybe you've shown that picture around people who know you, people who grew up around you, but they may not value your work the way others in the world will. Thank God Picasso didn't do that. And if it did happen to him, he didn't listen. He kept making his work. And we all know the value today of a Picasso painting. How many other great works are out there that the world's never seen because that artist, that photographer, didn't show their work to the right person or didn't believe in themselves enough to show it to the right person? You've got to show it. Now let's go deeper into value. No one knows what you've done to create your image, what you've put into it. Only you know that. Many of us devote our life to creating beautiful images. Would you just give that away? This is why it is so important to surround yourself with the right type of people. People who value what you value. In this story, the one I began the podcast with today. Now imagine, what if the son had gone to 10 different pawn shops or 10 different watch shops and asked about the value of the watch? And they all tell him the value of this used watch is around $5. He would start to believe that's the true value. Let's say he goes to 50 shops, all the same type of shop, and they all tell him anywhere between $2 and $5 for that watch. It doesn't matter the amount of people who say that the value of this is only worth so much. All those stores are the same type of store. All he had to do was go to the right type of person. In this case, it was a museum. So let me ask you, who is your real client? Who will value your work and pay you what it's worth? Show your work to the right type of people and find out the true value of your work. You'll be surprised what happens. Never give away your work. Be careful who you believe when it comes to valuing your work. As we end this year, number 1, be thankful that you're here. Number 2, stop and think about all the things you've done to invest in your career. Maybe it's just a hobby today. You still made quite an investment in your photography. And not just the financial investment, the time investment. You can't get that back. In many ways, your time is the most valuable thing you have. How much time have you spent learning your craft, improving your craft, and what's it worth? As most of the world is slowing down, going back to a place where we may have to shelter in place, this is the perfect time to sit and reevaluate your photography, to really figure out what you believe your work is worth. So in this new year, in this new exciting time, you can show the work that you love and charge what it's worth. All right, Photography Nation, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Master Your Lens podcast. First and foremost, be safe. Take care of your families and your loved ones. Happy holidays, Photography Nation. Always dream big. Bye for now.